All right, this is Ringside Report MMA. Tonight on the show, we will preview UFC 255, Figueiredo versus Perez, Shevchenko versus Maia. Anderson Silva has been released by the UFC, and Khabib still in the drug testing pool. What does that mean for his retirement? Ringside Report MMA starts right now. Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Everybody on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook Live, we appreciate you. I see people jumping off in the chat. People were here over half an hour before the show began. People are ready for the show, boys. Are you guys ready for the show?
What's up, homie?
Yeah.
You know what? I just discovered something. Stella Artois, as you can see here, not sponsored on Ringside Report yet. It was made in 1366, man. 1366. Stella Artois.
Fred, why is he talking about this?
I was expecting.
Because I'm trying to get a sponsorship with Stella Artois.
Stella Artois.
Yeah. Stellartoy. Yeah, Stellartoys. Yeah, I'm surprised you're actually pronouncing something correctly. Yeah, good one, Fred.
Is it Italian? What is it?
I mean,
no, it's
does
from
it
Belgium.
sound
It's from
Italian?
Belgium. Excuse me.
Why are
Well,
you
Stella,
talking about the
Stella.
beer you're drinking? You know, Gatorade was started. Like, what are you talking about? Can we do the MMA thing
It was Michael
now?
Jordan.
Let's just start with some
Green
MMA
tea.
before AJ goes off the rails. Fred, we're not talking about beverages, all right? We're not doing a beverage chat. This is Ringside Report MMA, where we're talking about mixed martial arts, and UFC 255 is coming up this weekend. We're going to talk about that here on the show. We'll preview it here in a second. Anderson Silva, like I said, has been released by the UFC. What does that mean? And Khabib, drug tested. What does that mean? He's been drug tested by USADA. He's still in the drug testing pool. Usually when you retire, you stop getting drug tested. What's up with Khabib? I want to start, though, with UFC 255. AJ, you and I could talk about our side bet as well later on in the show. AJ and I have a non-MMA related bet going that we could talk about later, and we'll see whose side the Ringside Report universe is on. AJ's or Dave's? That'll be fun, right?
You want me to get in trouble, eh, Dave?
No.
Oh, look at
I don't
those
want you to
fancy
get in trouble.
graphics, man.
Why would I want you to get in trouble? You're my best buddy. I don't want AJ to get in trouble. That's not the point of this show.
You're trying to dox him, man?
I'm
You're
not
trying to dox him?
I'm not trying to entrap AJ. I never try to trick AJ into doing things on this show. Never.
That's okay. There's a lot of illegal things going on nowadays. But that's okay, Dave.
And you're part of them. You're part of most of them.
But the good thing is
You
that
wet your
our show
beak.
is not fake. It's called Truth Media at Ringside Report. Truth News.
I don't think we have a news division, and it's definitely not called Truth News. I think it's called Irreparable Damage. Go to irreparabledamageshow.com for that wing, I guess. We don't have a Truth News. Do you have a right-wing news station that you're starting on YouTube, AJ? Truth News with AJ DeLessio? Because I would definitely like and subscribe to that. That sounds great. Deiveson
maybe that's what me and
Figueiredo.
Fred should do. Come on your show.
Yeah, you should. Deiveson Figueiredo and Alex Perez are going to be fighting in the main event in UFC 255 this Saturday night. We are not doing a watch-along for this thing because we just don't care that much. You know, it's just not a great pay-per-view. So we're like, yeah, we'll see you in December watch-alongs. We're just not doing it for this one because the pay-per-view is I would say, the weakest main event of the year for the UFC as far as pay-per-views go. Has there been anything less impressive, less blockbuster? Like, I think if you're a hardcore MMA fan, for sure, you're excited about this fight. I watched Figueiredo and Perez, their last fights, just earlier today, just preparing for this show. These are some awesome fighters. Deiveson Figueiredo is a very bad man. And Alex Perez, I mean, the way he finished Jussier Formiga in that last fight, he finished him in the first round with kicks to the calf. The dreaded calf kick. He finished him, dropped him, and Formiga wanted no more after a bunch of kicks to the calf. Now, if you can do that to a man, you are pretty dangerous. So these two guys are serious. It's for the flyweight title. You know, it's good, but it's not blockbuster. It's not big time. It's not John Jones. It's not Conor McGregor. It's not, whatever that the UFC has done this year as far as pay-per-views. Like, what was the last pay-per-view? UFC 254. Wasn't that Khabib time? That was Khabib. UFC 253 was Israel Adesanya. UFC 252 was Stipe and DC. UFC 251 was Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal. UFC 250 was Amanda Nunes and Felicia Spencer. Okay, it's the worst main event since UFC 250 in June for a UFC pay-per-view.
It might be worse.
It's probably worse than that. UFC 249, I'm trying to figure out if it's the worst UFC pay-per-view main event all year. I think it is. Ferguson and Gaethje, UFC 249 back in May. That was pretty awesome. UFC 248 back in March. Two title fights. You had Adesanya and Romero and Joanna versus Weili Zhang. UFC 247. You had John Jones. And then UFC 246, of course, was the Conor McGregor pay-per-view, right? Conor and Cowboy. So this is by far, I mean, I guess you could argue Nunes and Felicia Spencer. It was a pretty weak main event back in June. But this, as far as main events for a UFC pay-per-view, is pretty damn terrible. Amanda Nunes, at least, is the greatest female fighter of all time. These two guys are just, the new flyweight champion and the number one contender of a division that lost Henry Cejudo, who was the double champ. He was the 125-pound champ. He moved up. He won the 135-pound champ. And then he defends his belt and decides to just disappear from MMA and retire, which leaves the division in kind of a weak spot. And already the division is pretty weak, right? Like, no one really cares about the flyweight division. Historically, it's not been a marquee division with a lot of big names and a lot of big fights. Demetrius Johnson, one of the biggest or greatest fighters in the world, didn't sell a lot of pay-per-views because no one really cared about the flyweight division. So, it's a weak division. Their champion vacated. You got two guys nobody knows. No one can spell Deiveson Figueiredo. AJ, I challenge you to spell Deiveson Figueiredo. So, when you don't know the champion's name, you barely know who he is. AJ, what country is he from?
He's from Brazil, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he is from Brazil. But, that should be, it shouldn't be, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean? He's a world champion, and we don't know much about this guy because he's a new world champion. He's not a pay-per-view star. So, Look, I'm taking a look at these guys. It's a very good mixed martial arts fight for sure. I'm going to be watching. I'm a hardcore MMA fan, but it's not going to draw people in. It's not going to draw the big numbers. And for that reason, and not really that reason alone, also it's Survivor Series weekend. We're going to do a post-show watch-along deal for Survivor Series on Sunday, so I'm giving myself a little bit of a YouTube break on Saturday. Don't want to run the engine too hard, right? But also, it's just not a big pay-per-view. So we're not doing a watch-along on Saturday, okay? That's the deal. Point final.
You're being a bit rough on this card, man. And look,
Fred,
you're being
come on.
a bit rough on this card.
Fred, tell me I'm not rough. AJ's ridiculous. AJ, I'm cutting you off. Cutting you off because Fred's going to speak the truth.
Let me just, Fred, you want to go ahead, but I'm going to tell Dave something here.
All right, fine. AJ, go ahead.
It's not the best pay-per-view in a long time. It's probably not going to make the numbers that most pay-per-views
it's the worst.
will do. But if you look at the full card, man, you got Mike Perry there. You got Shogun Rua. You got Shevchenko. And you know what? You talk trash about Figueiredo, but you know what?
Can't even say her name.
Shevchenko. Yeah, listen, I'm going to tell you something. You've got a card here that is awesome if it was a fight night card. As pay-per-view, it's just missing that champagne. Yeah. But as a fight night card, you would be saying this is a great fight night card. But
so you're making Dave's point.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm making his point,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is
because when's the
as
last
a
time?
pay-per-view, it's missing.
Sure, AJ,
yeah, it's missing something.
As a fight night card, I would definitely say it's great. When's the last time you saw a fight night card with not one, but two world title fights, right? There are 2 world title fights on this card, okay?
Exactly.
They're in 2 divisions that no one gives a shit about, but yeah, sure, there are 2 world title fights on this card, so I'll give you that. But to be real, no one really cares. These aren't compelling matchups. These aren't great fights as far as, like, these people being stars in the sport and people caring about their fights. Like, when you tell the average person Valentina Shevchenko, crickets, man. No one really knows who she is. We know she's great, but the average fight fan is not tuning in especially to watch every Valentina fight. They're just not.
No, and I agree with that. And I think maybe they're sorry, Freddie. I was going to say maybe they're hoping that presence of Mike Perry and his latest antics and everybody knowing him through like TMZ or maybe Mauricio Shogarua being a legend. Listen, I know it doesn't carry, but you know what? Look, they're trying to end the year, and they don't really care because in the end, Dana White delivered what he was supposed to in the beginning of the year with ESPN. He delivered all the fights. He doesn't care if he makes or not because he's still going to get paid the real amount to this UFC pay-per-view. He knows it's not going to make the numbers, but he doesn't care. In the end, he won. But you know what? And it's,
what AJ is trying to explain there is that ESPN has bought the pay-per-view rights to the UFC pay-per-views in the States, so they are paying them a set amount of millions of dollars. So the UFC, all they have to do is produce these pay-per-views because you have to buy them in the States through the ESPN Plus app. So the UFC is making money through this pay-per-view, whether it sells a bunch of pay-per-views or not. And I think the number that I've heard was like, it's like it sells 250,000 buys right off the bat. Like, it doesn't really matter what it sells. And if it sells more, well, then that's good. But, yeah, I understand your point, AJ. But at the same time, they are still trying to sell them internationally. They are still trying to grow the sport. And they still do have a certain obligation to the fans when they're delivering a pay-per-view. And I think this will be one of the least bought pay-per-views of the year, if not the least bought pay-per-view of the year, because I just went through a list of the who's who of the sport that have fought on pay-per-view this year. John Jones, Daniel Cormier, Conor McGregor, Israel Adesanya. The big stars of this game have all fought several times this year, and they're not on this card. Not at all.
Look, this card definitely missing a real main event. Okay, I would say that. Other than that, it's a decent fight card. You know, there's some good talent, and some fun fights, but there's not the big main eventer. With that said, you say 250,000 pay-per-views. With what the UFC's been doing recently, I wouldn't be surprised they still get that number. Like, that's not a number that's too hard to get for them.
Right.
Now, as far as the flyweight division, I'll go back to when the UFC let go Demetrius Johnson. To me, that's where it started to be in shambles. Yes, Cejudo won and definitely was the champion. He deserved this title. There was no fluke. He won that fight against Demetrius Johnson. But it felt like Demetrius Johnson needed a rematch. And from there, Cejudo retiring, you know, it just like created this vacant feeling to the division. And like you said, Dave, it's a division that the UFC never really like invested. So we don't know much of the fighters. You know, Deiveson Figueiredo, he's been there for a while. He's been having success, but people don't really know him. So the marketing is a little bit deficient here. So if anything, like, I still feel it's a good fight. You mentioned Perez. He's a very good fighter also. Like, these two are probably going to offer us a very good spectacle, but it's not blockbuster. It's not going to sell.
No, but there's going to be a lot of action in this fight. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you've got a guy who has like powerful striking, like top level grappling, and Perez as well. I mean, this guy comes out and he throws out a war. So if you're going to look at the fight for what it is, there's going to be action. If you're going to look at this fight to lead the pay-per-view, it fizzes. But if people tune in and they see this fight, they'll be like, damn, it's going to be a good fight. There's no doubt about it. But it was just missing something.
Sure,
I think it would have this fight, if it was main carded, the main event would have been like a heavyweight that we could have thrown in there. I think this card we would be saying a different thing. We would be saying, oh, you know what? This is a great card. Look who's there. You got Shogun Rua. You got Figueiredo. You've got Shogagi, and you got Mike Perry. Oh, this is a good card.
AJ,
but
that's
if
not
you
what
look at it from a fight perspective, it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, sure, but you're talking about people randomly stumbling upon this card like it is a fight night and it's going to be free on TV. But it's not free on TV. You have to pay for this thing, so no one's going to randomly stumble into this thing. People need to intentionally want to buy it. And usually what sells things for people, are marquee names. And you look at the Derek Lewis, Curtis Blades main event next week on free TV. That is a bigger marquee name fight than anything on this pay-per-view. So no one's going to stumble into this thing. It's just, not going to happen. No one's going to be watching this pay-per-view. I wonder how many buys they really get. I am interested in the main event, though. I think it's going to be a hell of a fight. And maybe one day people will be excited about watching Deiveson Figueiredo. I think he's going to have a solid run as champion, although, hey, you never know, right? But he's looked really good. His last couple of fights against Joseph Benavidez, he smashed Benavidez, and Benavidez has been one of these guys who's been at the top of the 125-pound division for most of his professional MMA career. Since the inception of the division back in 2011, Benavidez has been at the very top and has not lost very often. He's defeated Alex Perez. He's defeated Jussier Formiga. He's defeated Henry Cejudo. I mean, Joseph Benavidez is a very, very tough out in the UFC, and Deiveson Figueiredo made it look easy not once, but twice. He smashed right through Joseph Benavidez, and that last fight was just devastating. He destroyed Benavidez. Benavidez was not in that fight for a second. And to be that far ahead of Joseph Benavidez in an MMA fight, finishing him in the first round with a submission, choked him unconscious with the rear naked choke, but got him there with vicious punches, nasty ground and pound, like solid power standing up, nasty stuff on the ground, and a very, very solid jiu-jitsu game. Like, this guy is very well-rounded, very talented, 32 years of age, from Brazil, in his professional prime, a black belt, of course, in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you could tell when this guy's fighting, and quite a specimen as well. I mean, this guy is super jacked. Not surprised that he struggled in the past. In fact, the reason why he fought Benavidez twice was because the first time it was a title fight that he missed weight for. Figueiredo missed weight. He's big, he's big for 125, so I hope tomorrow morning when they do that weigh-in, he actually hits 125 on the dot. Alex Perez is super good, too. I talked about those calf kicks to finish Formiga in 4 minutes in the last time that Perez stepped in there. But Formiga, he's kind of on the downturn of his career. He's 35. That was his third loss in a row after losing 2 straight. He fought Perez and lost again. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced with Alex Perez. I think he's very talented. I think he's going to put it on Deiveson Figueiredo. I think it's going to be a tough fight. I really do. But I look at, back in 2018, Joseph Benavidez finished by TKO, finished Perez in the very first round. So
knocked him out, man.
Yeah, he knocked him out. So I think Figueiredo's power is going to be really, really dangerous for Alex Perez. And for that reason, I'm going to go with Deiveson Figueiredo by knockout. This man is a savage. He has a record right now of 19-1. His one loss was a decision to Formiga back in 2009, won 4 straight since. I'm impressed very much so with Deiveson Figueiredo. I think the champ retains by knockout. He is the favorite going into this fight. I'm seeing him here over at bet99.com. He is the favorite. What is the odd here for? Oh, I can't find it. Where is it?
You said something pretty interesting. I mean, that's the thing. The guy stands 5'5" and he fights at 125. He's a big guy for that flyweight division. And if there's one thing that you said is that he has powerful striking, but his grappling game is really what he loves. And he loves to finish opponents with that. He's got like 7 submission wins. And I really think this is how it's going to end in this fight on Saturday night. It's going to be like he's just going to take him to the ground. He's going to pound him, and then he's going to look for that opportunity to submit him. And that's how I think that fight's going to end.
Deiveson Figueiredo
also,
minus 270, Alex Perez plus 230. Sorry, Fred. Go ahead.
I got Figueiredo also, and I'll tell you what he needs and what the division needs. They need either Cejudo or Demetrius Johnson to come back and fight the winner of this fight. If Figueiredo after that defeats like Cejudo, like that puts some legitimacy to his title reign. And look, he's a great fighter. If he wins a bunch of fights, he'll be considered a great champion. But if you want to put your name like out there quickly, figure out a way to fight Cejudo or bring back Demetrius Johnson. Can we trade Ben Askren back to get Demetrius Johnson back? Is that possible?
Well, it's funny that you say that. Ben Askren is actually talking quite a bit that he wants to be on the next tough series. So who knows? Maybe Ben is looking to come back. And you're talking about Formiga before. In fact, he was released from the UFC yesterday. So that, you know what I mean? There's so many things that are happening. People that are coming, people that are going. But the UFC, man, and I've been watching like the Dana White Contender Series, and I've been looking at some of these guys that are coming up and that are being like drafted into the UFC. Man, these guys are spectacular at all divisions, from flyweight to heavyweight. And you know what? It's crazy times at the UFC, man. So you're right. We need to get back some of the old stars, but there's a lot of new guys coming, Freddie, that are just as good, if not better.
That's the nature of the beast. It's part of the game.
It is.
It's what happens.
Man, one day you're on top of the throne, and the other day you're getting flushed down that throne. But that's life, man.
So we all have Deiveson Figueiredo. Do we all have him by knockout?
No, but I said what I
decision.
I'm going with submission, second round. That's how I think he's going to do it.
Okay. Freddie?
Knockout, TKO type of finish.
All right. Well, it's a clean sweep. We all have the favorite, the champion to retain, Deiveson Figueiredo over Alex Perez in the main event on Saturday night. How about the other one, Valentina Shevchenko, a gigantic favorite? Like, why even have the fight?
Crazy.
According to Vegas, it's like there's no point in this fight. Minus 1667 Shevchenko, plus 860 Jennifer Maia. Like, Shevchenko is a stupid favorite. It's like there's no chance in hell. If you bet on Jennifer Maia, you will win big time, but she will not win. Jennifer Maia will not win. She will get, I think, finished. AJ, what's happening?
What?
I know that's you. I hear myself in echo. It's always you.
What the hell happened there?
I don't know. AJ problems.
Listen,
Valentina is definitely going to win, and I think she finishes what's-her-face. Okay? Fred?
Listen, it's funny that you say that because, listen, at one point the odds were at
said Fred.
minus 1,800. What are you talking about?
I don't know. You start talking.
Listen,
I was like talking to Fred. I wasn't talking to you.
No, but
I was letting you deal with your AJ problems.
I don't know what the hell happened there, man. It just flipped out on me. But I'm going to tell you something. At one point, it was at minus 1,800. Now, like, that's a fight that is just basically like, I don't know. It's like you're trying to fight a kid. But Jennifer Maia isn't that bad. Anything could happen. So if you're looking to make some crazy money, you know, that's a fight that you want to pick as an underdog because anything can happen.
But she's going to lose. She's going to lose.
She is. I mean,
Tina's going to kill her.
Yeah, and that's exactly like, look, if you want to go with a parlay, listen to what we're saying. And I'm going with Valentina as well. She's going to knock her out.
The only question in my mind is whether or not Maia survives. Does she survive 5 rounds and live to see a decision, or does Valentina knock her unconscious? Does the referee have to step in, or do the judges decide it? Either way, Valentina wins. My only question is, does Maia possibly survive? Because she is durable, but that's basically all she has, durability. She's fucked.
You see, I'm looking at the rankings right now, and I'm like, I think Valentina's going to win, but I'm wondering why they didn't give the title shot to Jessica Andrade. I feel like she's a bigger name. If anything, she's the one. She's never lost to Shevchenko, so she'll probably be next in line. But yeah, Shevchenko's going to, like, she's a very good striker. She's going to outstrike Jennifer Maia. I feel she's going to dominate her on the stand-up in every aspect. So I got Shevchenko winning.
Jessica
Look,
Andrade
I
is
even
new
saw-
to the division, though, isn't she? Like, she was at 115, and didn't she just move up to 125 in her last fight?
Yeah, it could be. I see
I think
like
that's
she's
why.
ranked number 1. They
Oh,
got
yeah?
her ranked number 1 right now. So I'm like, she probably should have been in the title picture before Jennifer
Yeah.
Maia, but hey.
She just won a
Look,
fight recently, Andrade, and I think it
Yeah,
was
in
her.
October I saw.
I think it was her like return or debut at 125, and that's probably why she hasn't got the title shot right away. But yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think Andrade would be a much tougher. Yeah, she fought October 18th. She knocked out Caitlin Chukagian, and Chukagian's back at it, man. Chukagian doesn't fuck around. She's fighting on this card here. God damn.
I was gonna say I was
yeah.
looking at our buddy Eric Anders, who put out a comment. He basically said, like, if you had to look at this fight, he thinks it's going to be pretty much the same as Shevchenko versus Jessica Ai. It's going to be similar to that fight, and it's going to be a KO. So, I mean, some of the pro fighters, I don't think there was one pro fighter out of, like, 10 that were asked who's going to win this fight. They all went with, like, Valentina. There's no doubt about it.
It's
and
like
it's not
a
going to go to
guarantee.
distance, Dave.
Killer.
It's a guaranteed win. But the thing
Yeah.
is that, look, if you want to make money, you go with a win.
No,
For Jennifer Maia. If you want to go the distance,
no, you don't,
you can do
because
it.
you will lose your money. If you want to make
that's what
money,
I'm saying.
if you want to make money and you have a lot of money, put like if I had millions of dollars, I would put $1 million on Valentina Shevchenko because I know that I would get an easy $100,000 or whatever it is. And, like, that's guaranteed money. It's just like, here, would you like some money? Yes, I will bet as much as I can on Valentina. I know the payoff is bad, but she's guaranteed to win. There is no chance in hell that she loses. I don't say that about a lot of fights, but Valentina Shevchenko right now is as sure of a bet as it comes in MMA. She is one of the most dominant champions in the division, and especially this fight against Jennifer Maia, who, as Fred alluded to, doesn't really fit in this spot. There are other contenders that are probably more dangerous. Valentina fucking destroys in this fight. And I'm convincing myself that she's going to knock her out. Like, I don't think it's going to go the distance. Valentina's going to just finish her.
Look, if it doesn't finish in the first, it'll finish in the second. But you're right. If you want to go with a straight fight, to put it down, you put some good money down on Valentina, chances are you're going to win. You want to put her into your parlay, it's going to come out. I mean, this is pretty much a sure bet than you can get. But 100%. You know what? It's the world of sports. Anything could happen. But for that to happen, it's that she gets COVID from now to Saturday, that she slips over a cable and twists her knee. But other than that, she's knocking out Jennifer Maia on Saturday.
If she gets COVID, the fight doesn't happen. They'll
that's what I'm saying. There's no factors like from her not fighting and not winning on Saturday.
All right.
But if I had $1 million, I'd probably do it, Dave.
That's what I'm saying. But
I have to have 30 million behind me too.
I mean, even put a couple hundred on Valentina. What, you'll win? Maybe $20, but hey, easy 20. If you want to do it, I'm just saying, AJ.
Well, I mean, yeah.
AJ, you're a gambling man. I know you. You want to gamble. You're gambling with me
listen,
on a sure bet that's already closed, but that's okay. We'll get to it later. Mike Perry takes on Tim Means, the Dirty Bird. Yeah.
Dirty Bird.
I don't like to pick Mike Perry to win a fight,
but
I think Mike Perry will win this fight, and I think he's going to knock Tim Means out. Tim Means has been knocked out a few times in his career. I think it's going to happen again. Maybe not a few times. Once or twice, but not a bunch of times. But I like Perry to win this fight. He's younger. He's stronger. He should win.
Yeah.
You know what? The only drawback on this fight is.
Yeah, go ahead, Fred.
The only thing that scared me about this fight.
I thought you had more.
What did you say, Freddie? Mike?
Fred's like, yeah, I'm going with Perry also. And then he's like, yeah, go ahead, AJ. Fred has nothing best.
I was letting AJ go, so.
Yeah, but we don't need to let AJ go. We let AJ go too much on this show. Yeah, there you go.
But what? What are you saying? KO, Fred? I got to write this stuff down, man.
I'm going to go Perry by decision, but I'm mostly going to go. Like, if he's going to lose, it's probably because of his outside issues not being focused. Because other than that, I feel he's a better fighter than Tim Means. Tim Means a good, he could take some damage. He could give damage. But I feel Perry's a more skilled fighter. I'm gonna go with Perry.
Yeah, I don't like Perry. I think he's a goofball, but I think he's going to win this fight. AJ?
How, Dave? How are you going again?
Knockout.
By KO?
Knockout, yeah.
Okay.
I got
So, look,
Figueiredo
I got
by
some
knockout, Valentina by knockout, Perry by knockout. Should be a quick night.
It could be. But listen, I got some good news and bad news. The good news is that Mike Perry technically is supposed to win this. The bad news is that he had to lose 20 pounds to get into this fight on Saturday. So, 20 pounds does a hell of a lot to you as a fighter, to your power, to your mental game. Everything is like off kilter. So up to today, he wasn't close to that. Mind you, I saw him in an interview yesterday. He looked very mellow. It wasn't his usual Mike Perry coming out with a lot of trash talk and how he comes out and people asked him questions on his charges with his ex-wife and all that kind of stuff. He seemed a little mellow. But again, today is Thursday. We still got 2 days. Hopefully he can get that weight down and get himself back up. But that's the only thing that concerns me with this fight is that he doesn't make weight. But if he does make weight and he does get his sugar high, I think Mike Perry is going to end up winning this by knockout as well.
Sugar high?
Sugar high, man. Get your a Gatorade or your I don't know, Viagra or something. Is that illegal actually in the UFC?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Okay.
Gotta ask Mark Hunt. Well, he knows everything about this shit now. He's suing the UFC again.
All right. Well, we all have Mike Perry by knockout, right? And Mike Perry right now.
Decision.
Oh, Fred's got a decision. Well, Mike Perry right now, pick him to win at bet99.com. Minus 156 the favorite. Tim Means plus 127 the underdog. And I should mention when you sign up at bet99, use the promo code Ringside for a deposit match of 100% up to $200. So when you deposit money, they will match it for you up to $200. 100% match when you open an account. When you open a new account with Bet99 and use our promo code Ringside. Use that promo code Ringside. Yeah. At bet99.com.
So let me get this. If I put $200, they're going to give me $200 as well.
Hey, Fred, explain it to AJ.
What was the limit?
Because I want to make sure that everybody gets
200. 200 was the limit.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, AJ, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There you go,
Sorry,
AJ.
you're right.
You got it right.
No, I just want to make sure that people
Fred was
understand
shaking
that,
his head, and I was
is
starting to
pretty
wonder.
good.
I was like, did he get it right? I was like, I thought you
I
were
thought
right,
the limit
AJ.
was 100.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's 100%
Look,
matching bonus. Use the promo code Ringside when you sign up.
Dave, it's simple. You put $300 on Valentina to win, and you take the other $100 and you put it in the parlay with the fights that we're pretty much all on the same page here.
Okay, Ringside Report does not guarantee victory, or we do not necessarily condone whatever. I'm just saying.
Dave is worried that you're going to show up at his house.
I'm just saying, we do not guarantee victory with our picks, and don't take anything to the bank. Although sometimes we're right.
Bet responsibly.
And the last
That's what it comes down
UFC,
to.
we didn't bet on the last UFC fight card. Although we just picked one fight. We picked the Paul Felder Dos Anjos fight. The last UFC fight night on Saturday was so weak, we only picked one fight. And, of course, Freddie and I were right picking Rafael Dos Anjos. And once again, AJ D'Alessio, our main man, was wrong again going with Paul Felder. Rafael Dos Anjos really beat the brakes off of Paul Felder. It was not close.
He didn't beat the brakes. Come on,
He
Dave,
beat him up for 5 rounds. Did you watch the fight?
Boo.
Okay.
Yeah, I did watch the fight. And you're going to say the 4th round was not Paul Felder,
it was clearly Dos Anjos' fight. He whooped Paul Felder's ass.
What's your middle name? Adelaide Bird? But I'm going to tell you something.
Yes, my middle name is Adelaide Bird. You got it. It was 50-45, 50-45 on 2 judges' scorecard. The third judge, completely out to lunch, probably was AJ in disguise, gave it 48-47 to Felder, which is ridiculous.
That makes
because
sense.
Rafael,
was what I
no,
thought.
that's stupid, AJ. That's just silly goose stuff.
No.
Come on,
you
man.
Got my
Felder,
How-
listen, you got
Felder
my
had a weird look.
Yeah, even Felder was like,
heard
what?
It was a split. What?
He's like, I got the shit kicked
Look.
out of me. 2 judges scored it 5 rounds to nothing for Rafael Dos Anjos, which is what happened if you watch the fight and you understand what's going on and you have an unbiased opinion. AJ hates being wrong so much that it's not that you lie, it's that your picks, AJ, I understand. This is something that's beyond. I'm starting to get you more and more as time goes on. It's not that you are like a wrestling heel where you lose, you know you've lost, and you come out and you deny. You're like, I didn't really lose. I could never lose. That's not what's happening. This is subconscious with you. You watch these fights, and because you've picked the other guy, you see it in his favor, and you cannot be unbiased. It is not intentional. You are not doing it to be malicious or wrong in any way. It's just, how you are, how you're built, and you are just confused when you watch these fights sometimes because your heart takes over. And your brain, I guess, stops working. I don't know what's happening, But your heart is so big, AJ. You're very passionate, and that's why we love you. Very passionate. But you're wrong.
Listen, I'm gonna give you this. Like, regardless of what the judges thought, who won on that fight, as well as Fred and Dave, I'll say this: that it was an awesome fight, and for Paul Felder to step in, who was supposed to be commentating this fight, and then steps into the fight.
Give it to him.
Man, he came out and he gave a hell of a fight. It was amazing. I thought it was. You got to give it to him. Great action. And to be honest, I thought Paul. You know what? I honestly thought, man, if Paul would have won that 5th round, I really thought he was going to win the fight. Okay. I might have went with a little hard there, where I thought I thought it was a lot closer than that. But going to the 5th, when RDA won.
Thank you, Patrick.
I'm like,
Patrick
okay.
C. Hamilton with the super chat. We see you, Patrick. He's laughing. He's laughing at AJ. AJ is ridiculous.
Pat, but that's okay, man. Listen, if Paul would have won that 5th, it would have been a different scorecard.
You're right. It would have been 49-46 in favor of Dos Anjos. If Paul Felder would have won the 5th,
no.
You're right, AJ. Well, can you not understand the math of it? Because it was 50-45, and it's a 10-point must system. So,
but listen, one judge was on Paul's side. So you know what? Listen,
one judge was on Paul's side.
But to change the other 2 judge, you need more than 1 round.
Yeah.
Yeah,
AJ,
but I thought he won the 4th
round.
I thought
you're right.
If he won the 5th,
if the 5th round, it still would have been 49-46 for Dos Anjos. Felder would have needed the 5th round, the 4th round, and the 3rd round to win a 5-round fight. It's really simple. When it's a 5-round fight, you need to win at least 3 out of 5 rounds. When he lost the first 4 rounds, winning the 5th round would not be enough to change the course of the events.
Look,
I thought he won the first. So you know what?
I'll just give him props for showing up on late notice and still But I read a quote from him where he basically said that he was he hasn't been training much during the pandemic and all that. So. Honestly, that's a little disappointing, man. Don't give me a guy that's not even ready, man. Come on, UFC. Try to, I don't know. And also another thing that, people, I've been hearing people say, oh, Dos Anjos is back in the title picture. I mean, this guy lost, 3 in a row before that? How about, I don't want to see Dos Anjos against McGregor, and from what it's been announced, it seems like it's going to be McGregor-Poirier. But after that Dos Anjos fight, a lot of people were like, oh, we should finally see Dos Anjos and McGregor. I don't know. I don't really need to see Dos Anjos.
Listen.
Nice win. Beat somebody else. Get your name back with another win.
It was a 2-fight losing streak, Freddie. But you know what? It was RDA that called out Conor at the end. And you know what? To call out Conor, I mean, let's be honest. Conor is going to knock this guy out. And to be honest, he's probably it's the end of his career. How much further can he go? He wants to make some decent money. You call out Conor like everybody does because you're going to make money. But everybody wants to fight Conor, but you're not at the level to fight Conor, man. And you know what? People can say all they want about Conor McGregor, but let's not forget what he did to Cowboy Cerrone this year in January. And he's going to do the same thing to Dustin Poirier for the 2nd time. And you know what? Look, RDA, it was a good fight. It was awesome, but you know what?
Yeah. I agree.
It would be.
I don't think he's quite there
LCRDA
yet.
On a fight night.
I don't think he's quite there as far as fighting for the world title or fighting Conor McGregor, who I think is on the cusp of fighting for the world title. But again, with Khabib in or out of the picture, it's not really clear who the world champion is in that division or what's happening. And we'll get to Khabib in just a minute. I want to wrap up the UFC 255 preview here of the main card. Caitlin Chookagian takes on Cynthia Calvillo. Now, Calvillo is 9-1-1 coming into this fight. Only one loss to Carla Esparza, coming off a victory over Jessica Ai. Caitlin Chookagian coming off a loss very recently to Jessica Andrade, getting knocked out. And Caitlin Chookagian is the underdog in this fight over at Bet99.com. They have her at a plus 210 underdog. Calvillo minus 270. And I'm looking at this fight card, and I'm picking a lot of favorites, and I'm trying to see the angle, and I really think that Caitlin Chookagian is the ticket. I just don't think Cynthia Calvillo has faced the level of competition that Caitlin Chookagian has. I don't think that Cynthia Calvillo has the grappling as far as like the control in the octagon. I don't think she has enough to be able to handle the size and power of Caitlin Chookagian to get her to where she needs her to win this fight. I got Caitlin Chookagian by decision. I think she's a better striker. She's stronger. She's faced higher quality competition. I just think she's a better all-around fighter. I'm a little bit surprised she's such a heavy underdog here. What do you guys think, Fred?
I'm going with Calvillo. I think she's a good fighter. You see, I got her record in front of me, and I'm surprised. I thought she was younger than 33. But no, Calvillo's a good fighter. Her only loss is against Carla Esparza, and it should be a good fight. Like I'm not saying Caitlin doesn't have any chance, but I'm gonna go with Cynthia Calvillo.
Look, Dave, it's going to be a tough one to call, but if you look at it, you look at Cynthia Calvillo and you look at what who she's beat. She's destroyed Jessica Ai. Chookagian lost to Jessica Ai. When you look at overall momentum, it's Calvillo. If you look at overall grappling, it's Calvillo. If you look at her striking, it's improved so much more. And you know what? If it comes down to the wire, I mean, this is going to go to the wire. And I think Calvillo is going to be able to handle it. I mean, I've seen her training off the UFC circuit, and we saw it together in grappling events and whatnot. I'm surprised you're going against her, but I'm going with Calvillo with a decision win here.
Yeah, I don't think Cynthia Calvillo has the striking ability. I don't think she has the strength. She definitely doesn't have the size to deal with Caitlin Chookagian.
If he goes to the ground, you don't think so? Come on,
no,
Dave.
I think Caitlin's a better wrestler. Caitlin is 5'9". Cynthia is 5'4". It's a big size difference. Big size difference. I think it's going to play a factor. I got Caitlin Chookagian. She's my underdog pick of the night, but you guys aren't going with me, so that's okay. I like it.
This is where we split, man. This is where we split for the parlay.
I got Chookagian by decision. We got Shogun taking on Paul Craig. These two guys fought just over a year, just about a year ago, back in November of 2019. It was a split draw. So this was in Brazil. One judge scored it for Shogun, 29-28. One judge scored it for Craig, 29-28. And the third judge scored it a draw, 28-28. So it was declared a split draw. And I watched some of the fight earlier before the show, and I feel like Paul Craig won the fight. But something happened in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where they didn't want Shogun to lose. So they called it a split draw.
Counting the votes?
Yeah, I think they decided to stop the count in certain places, and yeah. So, Paul Craig, I think, got a little screwed-ski in Brazil.
Oh, yeah. Kind of like Paul Felder. Okay, that's okay.
Okay. You're the only one that thinks that. Paul Felder doesn't even think that, but okay. So I think Paul Craig is going to win this one by decision. I think they run it back, and things go a little bit more according to plan. It'll be in Las Vegas, right? Vegas? Controlled environment. I got Paul Craig by decision, and I'm surprised he's not a heavier favorite, I guess because they went to a draw last time. Paul Craig minus 182 the favorite, Shogun plus 148 the underdog. I'm going with Craig by decision. AJ?
Look, man, when you're talking about like Shogun Rua, you're talking about a legend, a guy like when you think about it, 15 years ago was fighting in Pride, who won the Grand Prix as a middleweight. He was the middleweight champion.
Yeah. Shogun's great. UFC champion, Pride champion. We get it. You got to give it to him.
We get it.
I'm not talking about the past.
But I'm going to tell you something with rematches and I was saying this before we went on the show. The one thing with Mauricio Shogun Rua, out of his 6 rematches, he's 5-1. So when it comes back to fighting the same guy, he knows the guy's like fighting IQ is so high, and that's the difference. He's fought Paul Craig. He's going to improve on the mistakes. He already knows what to expect from this guy. And not to take away from Paul Craig, but sometimes he's like hot and cold. It depends on the nights that he comes out to fight. The difference with Shogun Rua is that the guy has seen it all. And like I said, his record stands that he is able to come back, 5-1 with rematches. So my money is going down on Shogun Rua, not only with heart, but also with the experience. And I think he's going to go to distance, and it's going to be a decision.
Paul Craig.
Yeah, I'm going also.
You're going with Shogun too?
With Shogun.
What?
Yeah.
So me and Freddie are going.
It might be a sentimental pick, but I'll tell you what, AJ's right. In rematches, Shogun seems to study his opponent. Other than that Dan Henderson one, all his rematches went pretty well. Remember how he defeated Lyoto in the rematch to become champion? No, I got Shogun winning by decision. Yeah, I'll go with decision. But Shogun.
Damn, me and Freddie are going down the pipe. Wow.
Okay.
It's Freddie against Freddie and AJ against Dave.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Paul Craig by decision. Paul Craig beat Magomed Ankalaev, who is a future champion in the division. Paul Craig also beat Shogun last year in Brazil, but the judges called it a draw for some reason. And he's going to beat Shogun this time by decision, but you guys are going with Shogun.
if you're losing to Paul Craig, you might not be a future champion. I'm not sure you should be.
Take it easy. It was early in his career. Magomed was very young, Fred. Take it easy, okay? Paul Craig, 32 years old.
Lost to Paul Craig.
That's true. Paul Craig is 32, and this will be his 19th professional fight. Shogun is 38, and this will be his 40th professional fight. 40th professional fight. Age, incredible. Wear and tear. Shogun is a legend, but he's going to lose to Paul Craig by decision.
Dave,
I want him to win, but I think he will lose.
Look, the only thing I'm going to give it to you with Paul Craig is that on their first match, it was a 2-week notice to come in and fight Shogun Rua. So, look, you can look at it as that he wasn't as prepared to fight. Well, it was a draw. And if you look at it, maybe he wasn't as prepared to go into the fight, and as well for Shogun Rua that didn't study his opponent like he usually does. So you can go either or. Okay. But on the rematches, the favorite is Shogun.
So AJ, let's recap what we have here for our picks for UFC 255. Yep. What do I have? I have Figueiredo by knockout in the main event, and I think we all have Figueiredo, right? Freddie's got AJ, you got him by submission. Freddie by
KO.
Which fight? Figueiredo?
Yeah.
KO.
Yeah. I got Valentina by knockout. I think we all have Valentina by knockout, right?
Yep.
I think we all have Mike Perry by knockout too, right?
Fred decision.
Oh, Fred's got decision.
Fred's decision.
Yeah.
Dave KO and AJ KO.
All right.
He is, man. He's not the dirty bird for no reason.
I got Chukagian by decision, and you guys are taking Cynthia Calvillo by
decision.
All right. And finally...
Right, Freddie?
What, Cynthia?
Yeah.
Pay attention, Fred. Where are you?
Fred is playing like Tetris.
Yeah, he's doing something else. Fred's busy. Paul Craig, I've got him winning by decision, and you guys both have Shogun by what?
Decision.
Decision.
There you go. So AJ, you will make a
I'm
graphic.
reading COVID
You will
rules
make a
for
graphic,
Christmas.
and you will post it on our social media at Ringside Report on Twitter and Instagram, and that is the only graphic you are allowed to make and post on our social media as
What
per
about
our...
Facebook, man?
Yeah, sure. You can post the graphic there as well with our picks. The picks graphics are the only graphics you are allowed to post on our social media as per the new directive. Right, AJ?
You're as exciting as like freaking like toast with no butter. That's how exciting you are, Dave. I don't know how you did it.
I don't know how to do it.
With no jam, no butter, just like burnt toast. But hey, listen, man, to some people they like that. If it's your thing, I like this, like to pizzazz it up. Peanut butter. I like to put some bananas,
Marmite. You're a
a
Marmite.
little bit of honey,
Yeah.
and I like a little bit of cinnamon. But hey, that's just me. Freddie, I don't know what Freddie likes. Freddie doesn't like any of that shit.
I don't eat toast. I don't really like bread.
But you know what I miss? I'm gonna tell you what I like. What I miss. I
bread
miss
is
going to
great,
that
man.
breakfast place that me and Fred. I keep saying it all the time. I keep forgetting the name of it. But I can't wait till this COVID shit is over so we can make our way to Freddie's breakfast place in the South Shore. And that place was like awesome. What was it called again, Freddie?
I don't give free.
You guys, man.
Okay.
There you go. You see, this is what I got to deal with.
Let's not give
I
free
don't
plugs.
want to lose my privileges. I don't use them, but I don't want to use them. Lose them.
That's right. Let's not give free plugs. Let's give a real plug to our buddies over at Manscaped, keeping us looking good, looking fresh, smelling good as well. Manscaped, they've got so many great products for your balls, and that's what you need. You need things for your balls. You need to keep them nice and clean. They've got the Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0 that is now available in Canada. You can go check it out over at manscaped.com and use our promo code Ringside20 to get 20% off your order plus free shipping. They've got deodorant for the balls. They've got so many great things. They've got the new Weed Whacker. It is an ear and nose hair trimmer. And I think we're going to be getting our hands on that new ear and nose hair trimmer pretty soon. Our good buddies over at Manscaped supposed to send us a nice holiday package, some new stuff, AJ, so you could trim those nose hairs. They're getting out of control, buddy.
No, it's the years, man.
There you
They
go.
are,
So
man. The years.
we will keep you looking good, and you can look as good as AJ and Freddie over at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code Ringside20. Support the Ringside Report Network and keep your balls and just everything, your face. Keep yourself groomed, looking good, looking clean and tight. Manscaped, use that promo code Ringside20 for 20% off your entire order plus free shipping. It's a great deal. They have great products. Okay, they said to me, do you want the Manscaped products? I said, of course I want more Manscaped products. I love the Manscaped products. We don't just talk about it. We really do like the products. When I first got them, I was like, oh, this is cool, promo stuff. This is fun, And, we get sent stuff all the time. Things happen over the years. We get things. And sometimes I'm like, oh, yeah, this is fine, but I kind of don't use it or I pass it along. Manscaped, it's not one of those issues. It's like, oh, yeah, this is a thing, and now it's become part of the rotation. I'm a Manscaped customer now. I love the Manscaped stuff, so good on Manscaped. They do make a quality product. I love it, and you can love it too over at manscaped.com. Promo code Ringside20.
You're a Manscaped gentleman. And I was going to say, actually, like talking about Manscaped, like if people want to go and take a look at, like we have a clip on Instagram of Dave and Johnny like doing their show at Wrestling Uncensored. And I remember like there was this clip where, well, the thing is that before we got promoted by Manscaped, Johnny came out with this clipper on air with Dave, and they were talking about like 50 Shades of Grey episode. And Johnny pulls out this clipper, and he starts talking about how he shaves his balls. And then Dave starts flipping out because Johnny's pubic hair was falling on the desk. And Johnny was talking about Manscaped before we even got promoted by Manscaped. And I'm telling you, man, I was on the floor dying. Dave went like ballistic. Johnny was talking how clean he keeps himself because of wrestling, and it's all due to Manscaped. So you remember that episode, Dave? How can you forget? The pubic hair is probably still on the desk.
No,
for all we know.
Definitely not. We did a thorough clean of that, and this was pre-pandemic, but we still were very thorough about the cleaning after that. Johnny North brought in what do we call it? Foreign object, I would say here, and that was not appreciated.
But
no
who
foreign
walks around
objects.
with a clipper in his pocket?
Johnny North.
He was walking with that clipper in his pocket, man. It's only Johnny, man. I love Johnny.
He's a wrestler.
I miss Johnny,
He's
man.
trying to do a Brutus the Barber beefcake gimmick, I think.
No, he's more like
you don't
Bret
get
Hart,
that.
man.
Fred gets it, but that's okay. AJ doesn't get the wrestling references. Survivor Series coming up this Sunday night. We'll be on towards the main event of Survivor Series for a little bit of a watch-along ski and a post-show. We will be wrapping up Survivor Series after the show's over. Come back here right on the channel, and we will be recapping everything that happened at WWE Survivor Series. And, wow, watch Raw this week. It was god-awful, and we'll talk about it tomorrow night live.
Did you walk off?
Right after SmackDown, live tomorrow night, Wrestling Uncensored. We'll preview Survivor Series. We'll talk about what happened on AEW Dynamite. Pretty lackluster week in wrestling. Not much going on. Dynamite was Raw was horrible. Drew McIntyre regained the WWE title, and no one cared. Just, yeah. And Survivor Series looks really bad. So that's what's happening in wrestling. Wrestling is kind of, I don't know. AEW is fun, but WWE is like at an all-time low. All-time low. But that's another story for tomorrow night here on Wrestling Uncensored. Let's talk about Khabib. He got drug tested this week by USADA. You see that?
I saw that. You have a clip of it?
I don't know. There was no video of him getting drug tested. Like, you want to see him getting piss tested? What do you want to see?
No, there was I sent you like a pic of like Khabib sitting at a desk and like doing his test.
Oh yeah. Well, that was on his Instagram, right?
And then Dana White was like, "Hell no, he's not retired. He's going for his 30th." So Dana knows this guy's coming back.
Here is Khabib.
Let's see it.
Whoops, that's not Khabib.
Where's in the middle? That's Khabib, all right. He looks like Freddy.
There he is.
Oh, there you go. Damn,
so this is Khabib, and he says in Russian. Uh-oh.
Can you speak Russian, Dave?
Yeah, of course. Rada bada.
Нет.
Oh, sorry. Нет. Da.
Vodka.
Vodka. Oh, it keeps like disappearing on me. I'll tell you what it says. That's Borat. This is 47 times since 2015 as I have been tested for doping of USADA. Just think about this number. Why would I think about this number? I don't understand. 47 times since 2015? I mean, that's a lot, right? 47 times in about 5 years? But why do I have to think about this number, Khabib?
Clean times.
It's kind of like Freddy. It's kind of like Freddy with his vasectomy. He was around that number too. So he can think about it.
47 times. Just think about this number. Think about this number. It's number one bullshit. They keep testing me. So why is he still in the testing pool? Usually when you retire, you don't get tested by USADA anymore. You say, yo, I'm retired. There's no reason to test me. I'm not going to compete anymore. He's telling people, I don't understand what this Khabib deal is. Like, I do a hit on the TSN Montreal radio morning show every Friday, right? And every Friday they ask me about Khabib. And like 3 weeks ago, I was like, yeah, he's retired. And then the next week, I was like, well, Dana says he's not retired. And then the week after that, Khabib spoke to Russian people, and he's like, yeah, I am retired. So I'm like, yeah, Khabib's retired, I guess. And now this week, like tomorrow, I'm going to talk to them tomorrow morning, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, Khabib's not retired. I keep changing my story because the story keeps changing, man. I don't know how to make heads or tails of this whole thing. So Khabib fights 4 weeks ago. He retires. After the fight over Gaethje, retires 4 weeks ago. Then the next week, Dana's at a press conference. He's like, Khabib's not retired. I talked to him. It was emotions talking. He's going to come back. And then the week after, we're here doing a show, and we hear Khabib speaking to Russian reporters saying, oh, I am retired. I know people say I'm not retired, but I am retired, And now, this week, he's fucking drug tested. So what the fuck is happening? Is he going to fight or not? What's the deal? Can we just get an answer out of Khabib now? Like, why are you getting drug tested, man? What's happening? What's the story? Is he fighting or not?
He's retired.
Is he?
Well, that's Khabib, what he said. So, I'll believe until he says something else.
Well, why is he getting drug tested then? Why doesn't he tell USADA he's retired?
He's still in the pool. So if USADA shows up to your place, wait, you're gonna tell them to go F themselves? Nah, man, you give them the
No.
That's it.
No, that's not true, Freddie, because once you're retired, if you like talking to Pat Cote, once it was retired, testing were done.
You still got to fill the papers that you're retired. Maybe he hasn't, man.
Well, that's exactly it. And that's what it comes down to. It's almost like he's playing a cat and mouse game. He's going back and forth, kind of like Conor did, the same thing like George St. Pierre did, and came back from retirement to fight Bisping, and now he's in retirement. And that 30th fight might be that fight that we've all been waiting for. That might be the fight with George, and maybe that's what it's all about. He's in and out depending on what the negotiations are with George. That's what he's waiting for. He's waiting for Dana to sign that paper, because there's not going to be an interim title fight between Conor and Poirier. There's going to be that's off the shelf. So if that's off the shelf, it can only mean one thing: 2021, COVID-free, GSP, let him be, versus Khabib.
Keep rapping.
And that's going to happen.
Keep rhyming there. I wanted to see how far that rap was going to go.
No, but you know what? Because I was watching a documentary on Biggie.
COVID-free, GSP, let him be, you and me, ABC,
in the
1, 2, 3.
UFC. No,
UFC,
man, in the UFC.
KFC.
Listen, actually, good point. I got to call KFC to see if they're going to be our next promoter. Listen, I was watching a documentary on Biggie the other day, man. That was insane.
Biggie.
Heavy
Can't
D.
you see?
Don't you want to be in the UFC? Listen, that's
Sometimes
2021. That's what's going to happen. That's a good one, Dave. I like that.
Do you even know the reference, though?
You had the CD in your car, AJ, for months.
No, Hypnotize is on. No, he had Ready to Die. Hypnotize is not on that. Hypnotize is on Life After Death.
There were so many good ones.
Yeah.
Yo,
I
know my Biggie, okay?
I forgot the
other one.
Number 7. It was a really good one. I love it.
You know what I like on Life After Death? You're nobody till somebody kills you. You know that song? You're nobody till somebody kills you. And then Puffy's like, I don't want to die yet. Fucking Puffy.
But man, he was a really cool guy, man. Listen, man, Biggie he was so cool, man.
He's still alive,
I'm talking about Biggie.
Yeah, Biggie was cool. He was a very good rapper.
He was so cool, man. Yeah,
AJ's revelation of 2020. You know, Biggie was a really cool guy. Yeah, no shit.
And actually, Tupac wasn't too bad
pretty
either,
cool
but I think
too.
But not as cool as Biggie, I'll be honest, man.
Yeah,
West Coast, East Coast. I'm Central Coast.
You're just like 25 years late on the discussion, man.
AJ has been a Vanilla Ice fan in rap and Vanilla Ice and Beastie Boys exclusively up until about maybe 6 to 9 months ago, and now he's discovering
6 minutes ago.
And now he's discovering Biggie and Tupac, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm into this now." Maybe fast forward a bit, AJ, a little bit.
Even that little Kim, man, she was awesome, man. That was amazing. I'm telling you, that documentary, I'm gonna watch it again. It's so cool. Biggie.
Upgrade.
East Coast.
I want you to start listening to ASAP Ferg. That's who I want you on, AJ. That's what you should be listening to. ASAP Ferg. All sorts of people like that. You know, different rappers, current rappers. I want you.
Yeah, but I want to know. I just want to know one thing.
Lil Pump.
Are they East Coast, West Coast, or are they AJ Central Coast?
I know you must be a big Lil Pump fan, right? Because he's tight with your boy, DT.
Our Orange Man.
The Orange Crush. DT the Orange Crush. That's Donald Trump's rapper name. DT the Orange Crush.
Listen.
That's actually a
Trump
dope
in the
rapper
WWE
name.
at one point?
Yeah, he's a WWE Hall of Famer.
You're kidding me.
No.
Well, then he deserves to be the president. Oh, that says it all.
He deserves to be the president if you're in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Him and McMahon.
By that logic, Coco Beware should be president of the United States.
Hey, man, I remember Coco Beware. He was amazing. Whatever happened to his parrot?
Well,
the parrot's got to be alive still.
Fred, don't be ridiculous. They're not born in the States, okay? Coco Beware was born in the States. Bushwhackers are Australian. Okay,
get it straight. Barack, so.
Oh, how dare you! Oh, shit. Hawaii is in the States, Fred. How dare you? That's why The Rock can be president.
Kenya?
Ooh, The Rock. Good choice.
Wow. So speaking of fringe right-wing conspiracy theories, AJ decided to put his money on one, which I
On
find...
Bet99.com.
No, you didn't. With DaveSimon.com. You
Oh,
bet
yeah, and
money.
bagels.
You bet money that Donald Trump would get a second term. You bet money with me.
No. I said this. According to the statistics and like the odds makers, I said, first of all, just to remind you before I get into my stats thing, Johnny
There's a lot
reminded
of
me that you still owe
backtracking
me
right
bagels.
now. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I do owe you bagels, but I haven't seen
Thank you.
It's hard. I'm going to
I
get them
know.
to you.
But
I recognize I owe you, but I haven't seen you in so long, so it's hard to,
So
I'll
what
get
we
them to
said
you.
is that. So the bet was this.
You'll get them at
Dave was
Christmas.
trying to
I have a
trick me.
plan.
I didn't.
have a plan, AJ. I have a Christmas
What?
gift for you, and I have bagels. It's
You
all
do?
set up. Don't worry.
We're not gonna have
You'll
a
get them
ringside
soon.
party. That
No.
sucks, man.
Yeah.
I was like planning to do it,
Well, we could have
at a
some
very
Christmas parties.
elite gentleman's club.
El Duce Lago told today that we could have parties of up to 10 from the 24th to the 27th of December.
So let's
but
do
we're
it.
not allowed to have. We can't have no New Year's party because, I don't know, COVID just stops being infectious between the 24th and the 27th.
COVID.
It doesn't
As
like
long as
champagne?
you're max 10 people.
COVID is
What?
Christian, obviously, because
Why?
Legault's like, look, you can have parties between what is it, the 24th and 27th. So during the specific Christmas period, you can have parties in this province up to 10 people. Jews, you want to have Hanukkah parties? Fuck out of here! Too bad, motherfuckers. like what?
Date is Hanukkah?
I don't know. Let me find out when Hanukkah is this year. But to me, that seems a bit racist. Doesn't it?
What are you saying, man?
stupid.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
It just
Hanukkah.
seems
It's
stupid.
COVID, man.
Hanukkah, 8 glorious days and nights. The Festival of Lights, one of the greatest holidays.
Yeah,
a
well,
holiday.
now, eight days. That's for sure gonna be a super spreader, man.
Yeah,
Come on,
but
man.
look,
We
you
get
can't
through
have
that.
a Hanukkah party on the first night on December 10th. The first night is very important, okay? You light the shamish and
super
everything.
spreader, man.
Come
Super
on.
spreader.
Yeah.
Thursday, December 10th to Friday, December 18th, okay? So Francois Legault, the premier of this province, is telling you that Christians, you can have your Christmas parties, 10 people or more, between the 24th and 27th because Christmas is more important in Quebec than Hanukkah. And to that I say, go fuck yourself, buddy, all right? I mean, that seems anti-Semitic.
That is so racist.
That seems
No.
racist. It does seem anti-Semitic. It seems racist. If you are saying you can have specific regulations just for Christmas, just for your holiday, but Jews, too bad.
What about
I feel
What about the people that
I feel
celebrate
personally disrespected. Festivus is on the
No.
23rd, so Festivus also does not count.
Okay,
This
there
is
we go.
bullshit.
It's good news.
And you know what?
Good news.
Your sister, Tanya DeLesio, on our chat agrees with me. Thank you, Tanya.
My sister works for a very Jewish
Your sister
school. Yes.
is the most level-headed member of your family, obviously, because she agrees with me, and you're always disagreeing with me. So thank you, Tanya.
Listen, first of all, listen. Don't blame me,
Bullshit.
man. Don't blame Freddie. We're not.
I'm not
like, don't
blaming
blame
you
Johnny.
guys. I'm blaming
Don't blame us
Frankie
'cause we're
Legos. Frankie Legos for his anti-Semitic
El
rules. Bullshit.
Dave. Well,
Come on, man.
on that
Making
note,
it about
happy
you, man.
holidays,
Why are
man.
you making this about you, man?
Yeah, man. Good point.
I'm not
Fred.
making it
Keep
about
going.
me.
I'm trying to think
not
of
making
something.
it about me, Fred. I
Yes, you are.
won't have a big Hanukkah celebration. I don't have the bigger celebrations during that time in my household. It's Christmas. It is Christmas. It's not Hanukkah. All right. I'm a bad Jew. Okay, I'll admit it. But I'm still a Jew, and I'm still protective of my people. I'm still protective of my fellow Jews, and I know when we're being slighted or disrespected. And
Hey,
this
listen,
is
talk
this
about
is an
your fellow-
instance when we're being slighted and disrespected.
Listen, talk about your fellow Jews.
I
on
think
the,
everybody's being
Dana White.
disrespected on that one. Because, I mean,
Well,
some
you
people
can have
celebrate
Christmas,
New
but we can't
Year's.
have Hanukkah.
Yes,
New
some
Year's.
people don't
New Year's is
celebrate
not a
Christmas. Some
religious
people-
holiday in any way. It's a
to
cultural thing.
Some people, New Year's is the big holiday to them, man. They family get-togethers. I got some family get-togethers on New Year's. So, anyways,
Racism.
Hey, listen. Let me bring some MMA into
El
this.
Duce.
Francois
Listen,
Legault doesn't
talk
like
about-
Jews, apparently.
No. Well, I don't think he likes like many people other than
George
Jews.
Bush
I mean,
doesn't
English-
care about black people.
What?
Kanye said it. It was true then, and it's true now.
Trump got
Jesus.
more minority votes than any GOP guy since 1960-something.
And he still managed to lose the election. Isn't that crazy? So AJ
stole
has
it from
bet
him.
with me that Trump will
Wait,
still
let
be
me-
president on January 21st, right? That's our bet?
I said yes, not because I think he won, just because of the facts that there's a lot of like lawsuits going on and whatnot, and they have 25 days, and I think there's going to be something that happens, and I don't think he's gonna. I said he's not going to leave the office on the 20th. They might have to drag him out. It
Easy
might happen
money.
on the 21st, but
Easy money.
if he's still there on the 20th by midnight, Dave owes me 40 bananas.
Yeah, he won't be because
But the bagels, I still want.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, you're going to owe me money because Trump is for sure not going to be president anymore because it's over. There are certain people that don't quite get that. And you, for some reason, are believing him. And you're going to lose money because of it. It's like taking candy from a baby.
Ooh, I don't know after today's.
Which actually is not
talks,
that
Freddie,
easy.
the
I've
talks
tried to
that
take
Fre-
candy from a baby, and they fight harder than anybody I would ever
Oh man,
see.
they'll kick you.
over
They'll kick you right in the
candy.
nuts. Those little guys.
Whoever
dangerous.
said that, ridiculous. Because taking candy from, well, maybe not a baby, but from a toddler. Try taking candy from a 3.5-year-old. Fucking torture. Very difficult. That guy will take candy from you. I open a pack of gummy bears. They're gone before I get a chance to have all the red ones. You know.
Make sure he gets the gummy bears and not Dave Simon. And
My
Fred
dad
Garcia
wants a piece of that
gummy
bet
bears.
as well. Everybody wants a
What?
piece of the bet. My dad's on the chat. He's like, I'll take that bet too. And Johnny North is like, AJ's been talking to Rudy. Fred was sending me a whole Rudy Giuliani press conference today on our personal chat. It's great stuff. I love the.
Was he Johnny? I'm telling you,
No,
Johnny.
Fred
man,
was.
Johnny's
Fred
a
was.
I'm gonna tell you something. Johnny is like a secret Trump lover. But the thing is this: is that I'm only going with this bet because of the stuff that Freddie sends me, and as well Johnny. And I'm like, you know what? It
Fred,
makes sense.
you're
This
losing money
this
for
conspiracy
AJ.
Stuff.
Do you feel responsible? Do you feel responsible now? Do you think AJ has a chance of winning the bet, Fred? What do you think? What's your thought?
Uh-oh.
I think I want transparency, and I'm just happy that this is going to court, and whatever happens, happens. But everybody should want transparency.
Such a politician.
Like I don't care.
Of course.
I don't care what side of.
Of course.
So yeah. So let the process go, man. Giuliani says he has proofs that there's
Yes.
been some election fraud. So
But I believe
let
in
it play out.
transparency. I believe in transparency. I believe that it has been transparent, and I believe that when you say you have proof of a certain thing, you have to show that proof at a certain point.
Well,
And if
they're
you don't
showing a
show
lot
the
of it.
proof, if you don't show
There's
the
so many
proof,
statistical anomalies. Biden got 186,000 straight votes to him. That's like flipping the coin 186,000 times and having the same result.
depends where you
There's
are.
a lot of
Depends where you are.
There's so many
Certain
there's so
districts
many
would make sense.
No, not 186,000.
Kind of like
Come
my
on,
betting
man.
predictions. Listen,
That
if
is
I
a
was
lot
betting,
ridiculous.
How many people you think are voting for Donald Trump in whatever, Seattle or Portland or places like that, So,
Not
a lot of
186,000
places
in a
that
row.
are going to
I
go
guarantee you
straight
that.
blue. Straight blue. Look,
So you're saying I have a chance?
186,000 in a row.
sure, there are
Freddie, I have a
anomalies, there are mistakes, but not enough of them
And
to
they all go.
to
They all
sway
go
the
on
results.
the Biden side. That's great.
Okay.
So I'm getting more confident now. Maybe I'll put up more than $40.
Yeah.
Let me think about it. I want to see
No.
the stats this week.
I don't want to take that much money from you, AJ. I honestly feel like I'm taking advantage of a situation.
Listen, Freddie-
I feel like I'm betting on a game where I know the result and you don't, and it's
kind
just
of like
unfair.
the Valentina fight.
Yeah,
it's
it
kind of like
feels
that
unfair.
Valentina fight.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I was gonna say something earlier before you went crazy, knowing that you have a possibility of losing. I was gonna say, listen, I was watching the Dana White Contender Series, and there's actually the first Israeli MMA fighter that got into the UFC. Did you
I
see
saw
that kid
that.
fight? Man,
I
is
saw
he
that
good.
guy. He looked
Wow.
really good. Yeah.
That guy looks seriously dangerous. I mean, wow. Unbelievable.
Why are you bringing that up?
Well, because you were talking about like Hanukkah and like it's COVID, like doesn't like Hanukkah. I don't know what the hell you're talking about there.
You really
But
don't, eh? Wow, you were
no,
not
and that's
following
why I
that
wanted
at
to
all.
throw in. No, because I
Well,
wanted
the
to
premier
go on
of the
MMA
province, the premier of the province is making specific, exceptions for large gatherings. You can have 10
No, I
people
got that part.
only between the 24th and 27th, but he's not giving exceptions for bigger family gatherings between the 10th and the 18th when Hanukkah takes place, and I think that is unfair and short-sighted and borderline anti-Semitic.
So that means we could all get together, man. Let's do it.
For Hanukkah, man. You make latkes? Freddie, you make latkes? Freddie, you ever had a latke? You have, right?
Latkes are good, man. I love latkes.
Yo, Fred, you've never had a latke?
I've had latkes, matzo ball soup, you name it. I've had it all, man.
Fred, let me get you a latke. You would like a latke. They're delicious. Everybody likes latkes. Fred, we're going to have a Hanukkah party in 2022, and you will have latkes aplenty, my friend. We're going to have applesauce. It's going to be great.
Mazel tov.
Hey, Anderson Silva has been released from UFC contract. Mazel tov, Anderson.
What's up with that?
Well,
You
I
think
mean,
so?
he was released. I think it's good. He had one fight left on his contract. The UFC said they didn't want to let him fight anymore in the octagon because they didn't think he was UFC caliber anymore. He's pretty old. Anderson seems like he wants to explore other possibilities. Let him go and make money and fight some old guy in Bellator or fight Roy Jones after Roy Jones beats Mike Tyson in that boxing match. Whatever. Let Anderson go and do whatever he wants. I'm glad that the UFC did the right thing here and didn't hold one of the greatest fighters of all time to this silly contract. He wanted to go out and do other things.
But you know what? It's kind of like, I understand what the UFC did, and I think it's, in a way, it's right. But at the same time, it's wrong. I mean, you got a guy like Anderson Silva. I mean, like, just to release him and I don't know, it seems kind of dirty in a sense. I know that he shouldn't be fighting. He shouldn't have been fighting since his second fight with Weidman. I mean, I just find that Anderson Silva, who is the face of the UFC in a sense, the living legend, man, of the sport, still fighting.
It's not really the face of the UFC, but okay.
Well, he was the face of the UFC for quite a long time.
Kind of. Co-face with George, I guess, for a bit.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's just, I don't know, man. I think if they're going to release him, they should do something in like bringing out his story for all the fans of knowing who Anderson Silva was. I mean, when people are looking, like especially the younger MMA fans that are coming in that really don't know Anderson Silva, at his greatest, there should be something. There should be like some ceremony before a UFC fight for Anderson Silva. There's got to be recognition.
They gave him his freedom. They gave him his freedom.
Yeah,
they want more.
Sure.
And they'll put him in the Hall of Fame one day.
Freedom.
Yeah, they'll put him in the Hall of Fame.
He'll always have a place in UFC history and all that. Yeah. So, like, if anything, the UFC did the right thing for it. If anything, the UFC could have held him because I think he owed them still, one fight? Something like that?
Yeah.
So, the UFC could have held him to that contract and stopped him from doing other stuff because, like Dave said, that UFC contract could stop him from boxing or whatever. It could stop him from doing pretty much anything in the fight business like that brings in money. So,
yeah,
props to the UFC for letting him go, and he's a legend. But how many times you want to see him look bad in the UFC? UFC did him good, man.
Exactly, and I think Patrick on the chat sums it up. My thoughts exactly. This is what he wanted. Good move. They could have kept him on his contract, and he would be blocked, from doing anything else. And Patrick is bang on there. He wanted his freedom. He wanted to go and explore other possibilities, and the UFC could have kept him under contract and stopped him from doing that for the rest of his career, and just retired him, like they've done with George St. Pierre. But they decided not to do that with Anderson Silva. They won't release George from his contract, but they have released Anderson. Nice in this instance, but let's not paint the UFC as the good guys. George wanted a release from his contract years ago, and they decided not to.
Look, and I totally agree with that. I'm not disagreeing with the fact. I'm not disagreeing with the fact that they let him go, and I think they should have let him go a long time ago. But by letting him go, he needs to be recognized.
Well, he didn't want to be let go a long time ago.
I know he didn't.
Anderson wanted to keep fighting in the UFC. So
I know that, but just for like, not to wait till he's inducted into the Hall of Fame, which he should be inducted right away. A guy like this needs to be there right away. I think they should really sort of make some ceremony for this guy who's given so much for the UFC and given so much for the fans.
He's gonna be
and still fighting.
He's gonna be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but it needs to be like he's got to be recognized when it's a live fight
instantly.
Yeah, it's got to be something special. I mean,
come on, you do that ceremony. You do that ceremony the right way, so you prepare it. You don't just like, hey, Anderson Silva, we put him. Look at our website; he's in our Hall of Fame now.
No. It has to be prepared.
You do it the right way, and usually it's in the summer. They do the inductions. They
International
do that
Fight Week
during the
yeah,
exactly. So I'll bet anything. Like, if you want to have a bet with me, I'll bet you that Anderson Silva will be inducted next fight week, International Fight Week,
unless he's in Bellator.
But he won't be. Coker said he's not really interested. He didn't seem to
Coker's
be really interested.
Listen, Coker's the same guy who made a fight with Ken Shamrock against Royce Gracie at 49 years old. So what Scott Coker says doesn't always ring truth. He can look at Anderson Silva as a real
Fedor.
That'd be cool. That'd be fun. I'd be into that. But honestly, I think Anderson wants to box Roy Jones. He's always wanted to do it. When Anderson was in his prime, he wanted to leave the UFC and go box Roy Jones. And now that Roy Jones is back, and Mike Tyson is talking about this league being like a legends league of pro sports, and I could see Anderson Silva boxing Roy Jones and getting involved in that. I really, really could. I feel like Anderson has always wanted to do that, always wanted to box, always wanted to box
that league,
Roy Jones, no USADA. It could be an exhibition. It could be fun. You make some money. I think Anderson is going to at least get his management to inquire. I feel like Anderson would want that right now. I don't know what else possibly makes sense for him as far as a fight. But boxing Roy Jones would be fun.
That would be awesome.
Good
that
for
would be
Anderson.
awesome. And
I don't think he could win, but, it's Anderson Silva, and I wouldn't mind seeing him do it and getting the opportunity. I think he's a legend, and he deserves it. It's a dream of his. So, there it is.
All
right. Okay.
Sounds
good. Are you good, AJ? Are you good with that? You happy?
I just wanted to see him come into the octagon and them giving this huge splash of recognition. Walking into the octagon on the main card and introducing him and really putting out a montage for him.
They'll do it one day. All right, it'll happen one day, AJ. I don't know why you're so in you need this montage, but whatever. AJ McKee, not AJ DeLesio, but AJ McKee won tonight in Bellator. Bellator had an event this evening, and McKee submitting Darian Caldwell by guillotine in the very first round. Jason Jackson in the co-main event getting a decision win over former UFC champion Benson Henderson. Joey Davis got a decision win over Bobby Lee, and Ralphion Stotts beat a man named Keith Lee by decision. So the Lee boys not doing so well, and Benson Henderson suffering another setback in Bellator. He's not had a great Bellator run. He's lost 2 in a row now. Benson Henderson,
pretty bad,
former champion.
Sad to see that.
It happens. It happens. And, of course, I will be back tomorrow night with Wrestling Uncensored. To settle down, AJ. I'm getting into it. Tomorrow night with Wrestling Uncensored, right after SmackDown, we're going to break down everything happened on SmackDown. We'll preview WWE Survivor Series. We'll be on after Survivor Series. We'll be on actually during the main event-ish of Survivor Series around 10:15, 10:30. Sunday night, we'll be recapping everything that happened at WWE Survivor Series. And don't forget, Monday is November 23rd. And one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time, we're talking about hip-hop earlier, AJ, but one of the greatest albums of all time released 27 years ago, Monday. 27 years of Snoop Doggy Dogg's debut album. Of course, AJ, you know the name.
I know Snoop, man. Who doesn't know Snoop?
Doggy Style, right? His first album, Doggy Style. His debut album,
of course we know
one
that.
of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time, the 23rd of November, 1993 was when it was released. So you know how to celebrate the release of Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style album on Monday. And be sure to use your Manscaped on Sunday to get ready. Manscaped.com, promo code Ringside20. Prepare for the Doggy Style.
Wow, man.
I'm looking at that McKee submission, and I'm not sure what it was, man. It's a weird, it's like sort of a guillotine position, but he doesn't even have the arm under the neck, so it's not a guillotine. Maybe just a neck crank. I'm not sure, but it's a weird submission. Never saw it before, and props to him. Nice win.
I gotta see this.
He's a good fighter still. He's a good young fighter that people should still keep an eye on.
AJ McKee.
Dave,
what division? He's a featherweight, eh?
Featherweight.
17-0. By God, quite a fighter. Does he take on the champion next, or what? I mean, you would think he'd be right there, right? 17-0, undefeated at featherweight. Didn't the champion fight last week, Patricio Pitbull? He beat Pedro Carvalho. But I think Emmanuel Sanchez, who beat Daniel Weichel, will get the next shot at Patricio Pitbull. Because it's like a Grand Prix there. But you got to figure AJ McKee is right there as well. And that's what's going on in the Bellator featherweight division. They got some talent there, you know? That Patricio Pitbull is as legit as they come, and I think that he would do some real damage at 145 in the UFC. Like, I'm not convinced that Patricio Pitbull wouldn't be the UFC featherweight champion right now. Put Patricio Pitbull up against a Max Holloway or up against
Peter Yan.
Volkanovski. Volkanovski's the champion at 145, right?
Sorry, yeah.
Yan's 135.
Wrong weight class.
Like, I think Patricio Pitbull has a real shot at beating those guys. Like, this guy beat Michael Chandler. You know, he's a 155er. He was a lightweight world champion. He's now the featherweight world champion. He's a two-weight world champion at Bellator. Like, people sleep on Patricio Freire, Patricio Pitbull, but he's as legit as they come. He might be the best 145er in the game today, but he fights in Bellator, so people don't really know, you know? They got a serious division over there. All right, guys, let's wrap up.
Wait, I got something to say.
What?
Wait, I have something to say. I want to just say, get well soon, man, to Francesco Ricci from Bare Knuckles Fighting 14. Did you hear what happened?
No.
This is the thing with Bare Knuckles. I love it and everything, but, you know, this shit was bound to happen. But unfortunately, Francesco Ricci got a throat punch, and he's in an induced coma at the moment because the throat punch, obviously caused the hematoma. There was bleeding in the lungs, and they had to operate on the guy, and he walked away from the fight. He was looking good and everything. You know, he won that fight, and unfortunately, the doctors kind of made a medical error, and he's on induced coma at the moment. So let's wish him well.
This happened at a bare knuckle boxing match?
Yeah, the Bare Knuckles 14 just this week.
Do you know this guy?
I've seen him before. He won the fight. But,
I don't know, because you said, hey, you hear what happened to Francesco Ricci? I'm like, I don't know. Is he from NDG? Like, do you know him? I don't know.
No,
I was confused.
No. I'm just saying, like,
right, Fred? Didn't you get that impression too?
I don't know. With the name Francisco, I'm thinking that he's probably not from NDG or anyways.
Francesco Ricci?
He's
Francesco
Ricci
Ricci sounds like a guy from below the tracks, right,
maybe.
AJ?
Maybe.
Actually, you're right. There used to be Mike
Ricci's.
Ricci from... Yeah, it used to be in the UFC and TKO.
Because I thought you said Francisco at the beginning, so Francesco's different, so who knows?
No, but the Ricci is spelled different. It's with R-I-C-C-H-I, you know, so that Ricci. But anyways, all to say is that the poor guy is, like, you know, in a bad state right now. Let's wish him the best, man.
Wishing him the best. Got to give it to him. All right, ringsidereport.net is our website. Go there. Check it out. Check out AJ on Twitter and Instagram at Danny Brook. Check out Freddie at Freddie MMA. Follow me at Dave Simon MMA. Again, I'll be back tomorrow night, Wrestling Uncensored, after SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Survivor Series post-show, after Survivor Series on Sunday. And that's it. That's all.
That's
all right?
it?
That's it.
Snoop Dogg, man. Can't wait Monday.
Snoop Dogg on Monday. I know. Celebrate, AJ. Don't forget. Dave told you to celebrate, okay? When they ask you why, just tell them the dog.
It's okay. I'm going to send them a message from Ringside Report saying, you know, happy anniversary.
AJ, what's your favorite song on Doggy Style?
Probably the style part of the dog. But sounds good.
I like the shiznit. Fred? Murder Was the Case? Gin and Juice?
Isn't that another album? Murder
No, it's
Was
all
the
on...
Case is his own album.
No, that's all. Yeah, Doggy Style. That's his first album. All these songs are on this album. That's why this album is such a ridiculous album, because Gin and Juice, The Shiznit, Lottie Dottie, Murder Was the Case, Ain't No Fun If the Homies Can't Have None, Doggy Dog World, G's and Hustlers, Pump Pump, G's Up, Hose Down, like all these songs, all these classic, Who Am I, What's My Name, you know, what's my motherfucking name? Snoop Doggy Dog. Okay, that is on that. Murder Was the Case That They Gave Me. That's on that. Goddamn, Lottie Dottie's on that. Snoop's remix of that, the Slick Rick song. Doggy Dog World. It's a crazy mixed up world. It's a doggy dog world. It ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. I mean, Nate Dogg's verse in that song is the stuff of hip hop legends. I mean, AJ, I would love for you to. I can't play it right now, but I will play it for you after the show, and you will hear the lyrics, and you will love this song. Ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. They could never put this song out today, but if you know the song and you know Nate Dogg, what he says in that song, you know what I'm talking about. Classic song, but like, What's My Name? And then Gin and Juice. Like, Gin and Juice is one of the biggest songs in the history of hip-hop. AJ, do you know Gin and Juice? You know Gin and Juice, right?
I know gin and vodka, but I'm going to tell you
something. You don't know that song.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something just about Snoop Dogg. Just so you know, Dave, our
rolling
intern, Mark,
down the street, smoking endo, sipping on gin and juice, laid back with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. No? Nothing? You don't know that?
Listen, man. No, but I was going to tell you something that our intern, Mark, that you haven't met, who's fantastic as a PR guy, he met Snoop Dogg, and I have a picture. Well, he sent me a picture of him and Snoop like smoking. Just so you know.
All right. Well, go listen to the album. It's really good. Thanks. Go listen to Doggy Style. Enjoy it. We love you big time. See ya.
Gin and juice.